Well, I've got news. The Prince of Wales, and he's paying homage to his mother.
And Meghan Markle claims she generously emailed her ailing father. Welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples on both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan right here in California.
Oh, when's the news ever going to die down? I'm Rupert Bell with all the news on the Prince and Princess of Wales, and I'm sure I've got a view on the Duchess of Sussex's latest antics.
Rupert, why don't you just dive right into Aston Villa, because you have
Oh,
been messaging me about this for days and you were worried that the audience wouldn't love it, but our audience does love it. This is one of Prince William's sincere, genuine passions. And so it is so much fun to see him in his element and caring about what's going on. It's an opportunity for him to include the kids sometimes. Tell me about what's going on and what the scandal is.
well, I'm not sure it's a scandal, but as viewers know, I'm an Aston Villa fan, but so is the
And
Prince
a season ticket holder.
and a season ticket holder. And it's all about the match that we had against Arsenal last weekend. Now, it was the day after the Carol service, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and everyone looked fantastic. But obviously, sitting at home, I know he was watching the television coverage of the game. I was actually there, and I've never been to a football match like it. And Aston Villa scored with the last kick of the game. It was sensational stuff. So, from that point of view, I am still buzzing from it, and I'm sorry, dear listeners and viewers, I'm boring you with our tales of brilliance on the football pitch. But the controversial thing is, sitting at home, Prince William tweeted and took umbrage against Martin Keown, who was one of the summarisers for the football coverage back home here, didn't give Emi Buendia the Man of the Match award, and it went to an Arsenal player, and they lost. But it was interesting. There he is tweeting away, just like any other football fan, at umbrage of the football coverage. And I think that's, well, it shows what it means to him. So he spent his Saturday lunchtime glued to the television. I don't know what his wife's view of that is, but she was like many a football widow probably. And I don't know whether she was sitting down watching it, but he clearly was watching it, and he was taking offence at the fact that they didn't choose Emi Buendia's wonderful last minute goal to give him the man of the match. But it shows that he really is passionate about it. And it's caused a bit of controversy. Martin Keown copping some flack for it, particularly on our sister station Talk Sport, why he didn't, but he said he felt he had to give it to an Arsenal. And then, of course, he's a former Arsenal player, but he did also play for Villa. But
Ah.
enough of that. Mainly,
Well,
William.
did you agree with Prince William?
Of course I did. I mean, am I not going to agree? In this case, it shouldn't have gone to an Arsenal player. They lost. I could have given it to any other of our players on the pitch that day. They were magnificent. Yuri Tillemans would have got my vote, but Emi Buendia's goal. And they've actually done a wonderful montage of the goal, putting it to the Titanic music. And every time I watch it, I start crying. But there we go, because it's so emotional. So that's what football does to you. And I don't know whether Prince William is watching the highlights of the goal to the Titanic music that the club have put out. It is, but of course we haven't won anything, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? It's still a very special moment for Aston Villa fans, and in particular, Prince William is just one of us on Saturday lunchtime.
I like to imagine that Prince William is crying to "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion while watching slow-mos of football. That sounds pretty hilarious. Well, we talked a little bit about Prince William's love of the game and how he includes the kiddos in it. So I'm going to skip over Catherine's service for just 1 second, and I'm going to change the rundown around just a little bit, because we are seeing reports from the Daily Mail, and this is an exclusive from them, that Prince William is expected to take Prince George along with him to potentially visit his Centrepoint charity coming pretty soon. We know Prince William's understanding of homelessness began when Princess Diana brought him to a shelter when he was just 11 years old. And that's something that he continues to talk about today, that lasting mark. 20 years have passed since he became a Centrepoint patron. this is so important because he's carrying on Diana's legacy, what you teased at the very beginning, Rupert. And as the milestone approaches, William hopes to introduce Prince George, who's 12 now, to the same cause by bringing him to a homeless shelter. According to a royal insider, he frequently speaks to the children about the issues and wants George to meet some of the people who helped shape his mission with Homewards. And it's also on the day that this airs, we can look forward likely to images from Point, who are throwing a little fiesta for Prince William, 2 decades of his involvement in the charity. That's just so sweet to see that it's not just titles that the children inherit, it's also passions and it's also interests and concerns about what's going on in the world.
Well, I think it's very important that William does do this and gives George, Louis, and Charlotte all an opportunity to understand, that they have a deeply privileged life. And we know, and William has taken up the cudgels with making this homelessness project so important to him, and what it in trying to stamp it out. Now, it might just always feel a sort of that he's pushing against the tide. But he's got to make sure that his children also understand what it means. And I hope what we do is we see it under the cover of darkness, in the sense that we don't actually see it. We just hear about it, because I think we don't want it to be seen as a publicity stunt. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, and you probably have got more of your finger on the pulse, wasn't William just taken quietly by Diana along with no fuss, no bother, and just said, look, you've got to understand that how privileged your upbringing is compared to everybody else, and how you can go to Christmas, you have your lavish do's at Sandringham, whatever, but actually Christmas is a time when we do need to concentrate on one of the great iniquities of a modern society, that you have homelessness, and things need to be done, and William is at the forefront. And in many ways, you learn from your parents in this case, just as William has learned his passion from the environment from the king. Diana's passion for the homelessness issue is something that he's also taken up. So you can see the influence of his parents on his great sort of missions in life. One in this country, which is homelessness, and obviously the king and the environment, and taking it a stage further with the Earthshot. So for George and the other two children, I'm sure William will be very keen to impart his experiences and make sure that they understand the significance of what he's been trying to do, and to move it on maybe in down the line when they all become a little older.
I also appreciate the fact that he wants them to stay children for as long as possible, because once you enter the responsibility zone, there's no going back. And really, he's the poster child for it. It opens you up to criticism that you're not doing enough, or how come we don't see them here, 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 and here. So he's saying, like, I just want them to be babies for as long as they have that freedom.
Well, just grow into being, teenagers with us, with not as much fuss and bother. Look, they were paraded last week. I don't say paraded, but they were there, all in booted and suited, in their suits, and putting on their best bib and tucker to go to it, and they were there, and again, they know that they're sort of on show. But Louis in the suit, sort of, that certainly that took me by surprise. He scrubbed up well, and I don't know what he was like. We'll see on when the program goes out on Christmas Eve whether he was behaving like a naughty schoolboy. But I do think it is very important, and all the royal family have talked about it, is how they want to try and have as normal a childhood, and particularly in George's case, because ultimately his destiny's worked out for him. He cannot have a normal life, whereas the other members of the family don't have quite the same level of pressure. But they will be, given the paucity of people around, you can see that Charlotte will maybe adopt the role of the Princess Royal, and will be as significant a figure as she is in the king's life, and the sort of rock, and he's just always around. And maybe Charlotte, that will be Charlotte's role, to be that support, and for her elder brother. But that's her call in some ways, and how it plays out in her life. But it's quite right that the the family is saying, you have as normal a school days as is possible and just enjoy it. And I think that they are doing a very good job of protecting them from the prying eyes, bringing them out when required, but not overdoing it.
Do you ever read the label on a typical bag of chips? It's often a science experiment of seed oils, MSG, artificial dyes, and mystery ingredients. Masa is part of a growing movement to bring back real food. Masa's chips contain just three ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass fed beef tallow. Not only do these chips avoid the bad stuff, they're crunchy and taste incredible too. Snacking on masa chips is nothing like eating regular chips. With masa, you feel satisfied, light, and energetic, with no crash, bloat, or gross, sluggish feeling afterwards. You won't find yourself binging and feeling hungry. Personally, my favorite flavor of masa is the original. It is a clean and crisp taste. If you love masa already, then you're definitely going to love Vandy Crisps. Vandy, Masa's sister company, makes the most delicious three-ingredient potato chips I've ever had. My favorite flavor is smokehouse barbecue. How very Texan of me. Ready to give Masa or Vandy a try? Use code Kinsey for 25% off your first order at Masa Chips or vandycrisps.com, or simply click the link in the video description or scan the QR code to claim this offer. Don't feel like ordering online? Masa and Vandy are now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. Stop by and pick up a couple of bags before they're gone. Well, you mentioned that beautiful sighting we had of the family where, I mean, I love seeing them all together and they did look happy to be there. But the Princess of Wales Carol concert, it's become a signature event for the princess, designed to spotlight community spirit and celebrate extraordinary people. It's, Westminster Abbey's full of people that are trying to make change in their communities and, create charity through, whether it's homelessness or whether it's ill children. You saw multiple different charities represented throughout the princess's event. And it's kind of staged at the start of December to open the festive season for the royal family, who always turn out to support her. I think that that's a beautiful way to be like, okay, everyone, it's Christmas time now, where we get those gorgeous shots of the entire family headed into the Abbey. What was the reaction there? I imagine they were on the cover of every newspaper the next day.
Well, a lot. Unfortunately, our family in your neck of the woods were
I saw her on
grabbing.
one. I saw her on
Yeah,
one.
it wasn't. No, she was there, and I'm not going to say that it wasn't. But once again, it was quite. They were being,
It
having to
was
deal with.
convenient that Meghan Markle
Yeah,
decided to announce on Catherine's Christmas Carol Day that she reached out to her
yeah.
father. But
We'll come to that a bit later. Let's just deal with the carol service, which, of course, as we say, will go out on Christmas Day. There was Christmas Eve. There were 1,600 people in the church. You just say from all walks of life. Showbiz personalities, all doing their bit. The Prince of Wales, I think, did a reading, but we'll see how it unfolds, and I'm sure the choirs and the singing was absolutely magnificent because when you see that's a real Christmas evocation and the spirit of the occasion transmits it. And I think it is now becoming a Christmas tradition for the royal family. And the Princess of Wales has worked hard at it. But it is good to see her back out now, seemingly on the road in a much, because we had the state visit, which we haven't talked about, which they were involved in wearing, I know we've talked about it on another program, but, they were out there in force being involved in that, and seeing her back out on the road again, as it were, was a great aspect. She looked magnificent, I don't know who it was designed by, but it was a pretty decent looking coat anyway. Come on, you must know, Kinsey, you're back up here.
yeah, I mean, if I can't afford it, I don't invest. I don't invest my time in it. So,
oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, I understand where you're coming from there. But I think it is an important aspect, and it's now a sort of part of the Christmas TV coverage here. I don't know how much global coverage it gets, but I'm sure it will be out there because there is a degree of interest in it. There are one or two well-known celebrities on a global scale taking part of it, so it does give it an international resonance, but it is about the message of Christmas, the family, the love. Duchess of Kent was being remembered in it, and I think that was a very important touch to the proceedings. But of course, we don't know how it's eventually going to look. until we see it on Christmas Eve. But at that moment, I may not be able to sit down and watch it because I could be too busy stuffing the turkey. But that's another story.
I do want to tell our audience that American viewers can watch it on BritBox. BritBox is who usually carries it here in the States. So you would just add that app to your wherever you stream your content from. But yeah, it is. I sit back and watch it, and it's just a peaceful, loving, warm, just escape from reality. And it just makes you feel good.
Well, I think it's also, let's not forget the message. What it's about, which is
Well, Jesus
bringing
makes me
people.
feel warm and peaceful too. I mean, that's the point.
I Well, and it's Christmas. It's a Christmas celebration. It is the most important day for Christians around the world, the Christmas day and the celebrations. The Christmas message does get forgotten about at every opportunity, but this is a point where what it's about, which is love and bringing people together, and it is important. And I think this service should be applauded for what it is. And you know, a lot of work goes into it, as we clearly have seen with the. I have to say, seeing the pictures of the Abbey, which is the Abbey anyway, is the most fantastic building. When it was sort of festooned with Christmas decorations, it doesn't half warm the cockles of your heart.
What are cockles?
Cockles, well, they're mussels, cockles, they're sort of things you eat. But I
Okay.
don't, it's just an expression, cockles
Oh,
of your heart.
interesting. I'll add that to my expression
So,
list.
well, yeah, I keep bamboozling you every so often with an English phrase, but I'm sure a lot of our listeners will have warming the cockles of your heart. But cockles, we eat mussel cockles as sort of East London food. I don't particularly like cockles, but anyway, the essence of it gives you a warm glow.
Okay. Well,
It's,
I do
it's
think that there's something very romantic about, well, because Christmas is when you're supposed to spend time with the people that you love. Again, yeah, Jesus is the reason for the season, but it also gets us together to just stop and appreciate one another. There's something very romantic about her returning every holiday season to the I call it a room, the venue that she said I do in. I mean, I love the fact that she's returning to the same place she married Prince William with their babies. Like these are the gifts that the universe gave them, that are a result
oh,
of that love.
well, I think it's Westminster Abbey, as we know, is it's in central London. It gets used for all the major state occasions, as you know, the coronation, whatever. So it's a very significant venue, and I think to make it the focus of a major, of this, I think is important. And I wouldn't, I'm not. I just think it is a spectacular venue, and yes, I can see. You obviously do you like a Hallmark Christmas movie, do you?
You bet your butt I do, but
I can see your
I would never watch one starring Prince Harry. I could tell you that.
we've established that fact, but you're a sucker for them, and I mean I must admit, um, some of it is they are so schmaltzy that
Yeah.
I want to gag half the time. So
Yeah.
don't do you like? What's your favorite Christmas movie then? Holiday with which one's yours? Do you have
I
one?
love there's one Christmas at the Biltmore. It's not about a prince. It's about a girl that goes to an old hotel that was a movie set and she travels back in time and she meets a Hollywood hunk and they fall in love and he finds her in the real time after they fall in love and
Oh
love it.
God.
Christmas at the
All right.
Biltmore. I own it. I
That
don't just watch it every Christmas on the Hallmark Channel. I purchased it.
no, I love the one where it's been many times filmed, but the one with Richard Attenborough when he plays Santa and all around that's a great film. I can't take Holiday. I know a lot of people do like that. Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz. Anyway,
Oh
that's
wait,
not.
you're asking just a general, not a Hallmark? That
Yeah,
was a specific
no.
Hallmark. My
Well,
favorite
no,
Christmas movie is Meet Me in St. Louis, where she sings "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." They go through a couple of seasons, but when she's
yeah.
singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," I've been walking around in my Judy Garland Christmas sweater for a week now. Like I probably reek, but I refuse to
Uh,
take it off. And the Santa Claus starring Tim Allen. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah, but he's a sort of a bad Santa,
No, he's not
isn't
a
he?
bad Santa. He's a good Santa. He's the best
But he,
Santa.
oh yeah, well, Tim Allen, well, I've always enjoyed
Are
his
you talking
work.
about Billy Bob Thornton?
Oh yeah, well, obviously, well, that's a subplot there. Yeah, but it didn't go too well for Tim Allen to begin with in that film, didn't it? But then, of course, it works out all right in the end, doesn't it, or
Yes.
something?
Yes. It's so
With
cute.
it, yeah, I'm a sucker for a good one. I'm a crier in a movie, but I am. No, I'm
Do
not
you cry
proud.
when there's a dog involved?
No. I cry when they put Titanic music to Amy Buendia scoring a goal. But anyway, I think we seriously digressed here. But I think the point is Christmas. If we're coming back to Westminster Abbey and movies, these sort of things are all designed to bring people together and give us a sort of escape entertainment. And some of the Christmas movies are, just really good fun. But there is such a plethora of them. And I slip through some of my TV channels and I'm thinking, what do they make that one for? Well, my goodness me. When the actor gets the script or actress gets the script and thinking, well, we'd like you to play this, and they're thinking, I've got to say these lines convincingly. And, with all due respect to some of these Christmas movies, but it's all good. And I'll tell you what, I was sent pictures. I don't know what your street looks like in California, but did get sent from my sister-in-law in Florida of a house that has been seriously done up. I mean, the money this people must have spent on this big house in Florida. I mean, fair play. I mean, it does seem to be, keeping up with the Joneses with the Christmas lights. I don't know what your street's like in where you are, but I mean, it is an American thing that some people take that side of Christmas extremely seriously.
I
I
know.
think we seem to be delaying talking about the Duke and Duchess of Montecito, but anyway,
Well, I will.
that's digressed a
I
bit.
will say next week I'm going to watch the boat parade because they've decorated on my pier. They've all decorated their boats in Christmas lights.
Oh,
And 2 weeks ago when I was on the highway, there was a car being towed that was wrapped in Christmas lights. Like the entire car was wrapped in Christmas lights. I was like, that is an accident waiting to happen because all I want to do is take pictures of this car wrapped in Christmas lights on the back of this tow truck.
well, that only in America. That might be one of those only in America lines. I mean, we are getting more and more houses are now being decorated with lights. Even in my part of rural
Well,
England,
what did you do before that? Was it just florals?
inside. Well, it's stuff
Oh,
inside. And you
oh,
go to your local shop now. I mean, if you go to the local garden centre in this country, there isn't any real plants, but three-quarters of any garden centre is now just a giant Christmas tat selling place, because
amazing.
let's be honest, a lot of these decorations, a lot of it is tat, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
but
um,
if it makes you happy and it makes your guests happy when they walk in, tat away,
oh,
dude.
I've got some flashing lights in my dining room. My tree hasn't gone up yet. That's the job for
Wow.
next weekend.
Oh, you better
Yeah.
keep it up till Valentine's Day if you're getting to it this late.
No. You are all 12 days of Christmas has to come down on the 12th day of Christmas. You have
Uh,
12 days after Christmas.
okay,
No, you
Grinch.
never.
Okay, Grinch.
No, that's the rules. So it's 12 days
You
after
don't just
Christmas.
decorate your Christmas tree with hearts and then call it a Valentine's Day tree?
Oh, no, give me a break, Kinsey. No, please tell me you don't do that. And I mean, I don't know whether I get a real one. There's lots of people around here. Go and get a 7 foot tree. I will be get purchasing.
Okay, Clark Griswold.
I'm
Does
not
it come with the
Griswold.
squirrel? Does it come with the squirrel
Well,
inside?
the squirrels are not coming into my house, I can assure you. We're not those pesky squirrels, they are not allowed anywhere near my Christmas tree. And hopefully next year they're not going to be allowed anywhere near my vegetable garden because I didn't get as many red currant jelly jars out this year as I'd hoped. So maybe those pesky squirrels were eating my red currants as well.
They're on the naughty list. Well, speaking of the naughty list, let's talk about Meghan Markle. Meghan says she reached out to her father by email after his recent life-saving surgery, countering his public claim that she never contacted him. Thomas Markle had insisted earlier this week that he hadn't heard from her following his emergency life or death procedure. We know he had an amputation to one of his legs. The Mail on Sunday reports that the email address Meghan used had not been active for roughly 5 years. Thomas told the Mail, I've always said I'm open to reconciling with my daughter. I have never stopped loving her. I don't want to die estranged from Meghan. I mean, you and I privately messaged about this because we were like, this is such a messy look for
Oh,
Meghan. Here it is. She's trying to shove this holiday special down our throats. And why is there never a clear narrative when it comes to Meghan Markle's stories? I reached out to him. No, she didn't. Oh, it was an email. That email hasn't worked in 5 years. You know, I told the Kardashians to take the pictures down because I didn't sign a consent form. The Kardashians, we didn't have a consent form. She just so comfortable at being dishonest? Like, well, I don't even know how to word this, but Rupert, where does the truth lie? And is it ever in Meghan Markle's corner?
well, I've heard today that by all accounts she has tried to reach out to different hospitals to find where she is at the Philippines.
Yeah, but you know what, Rupert? Screw that. You will sit on a stage and and acknowledge that you are one of Fortune magazine's most powerful
Yeah,
women, and it takes
yeah.
you 5 days to get a hold of your dad.
And I'm sorry, and this is where, um, in the modern day and age, it wouldn't take 5 days. And if she, by all accounts, has her father's number, then Thomas may have it. I am reaching out. I'm sorry, it's sad. There's a sort of King Lear-esque element about this. He's desperate to reconcile, obviously seriously ill. That sounds really scary. He's obviously being well treated. They talk about, we know he's a VIP. They know the significance of the person they have within this hospital. I'm pretty sure by hook or by crook, they could have got a message pretty quickly. Now, I hate the fact that this is being played out in the media
Why? We're
because,
holding her accountable for lying to us,
yeah,
allegedly.
well, no, I regret that, but they need to sort this out privately. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
So, and she's saying her spokesman is saying reach out. So we're getting stuff coming out from them. Just get on, talk to your dad if that's what you want to do, or if you don't. But then I was watching today something from 2013 that popped up on my Instagram feed of her being interviewed by Craig Ferguson, and she's permanently talking about her father and how she was on the set of Married with Children and all these things with her father. And that just brought it home to me and feeling this is sad because I think that was 12 years ago in 2013 when she was sort of emerging into Suits and, was part of that. And you just think, oh, and she has written out and as if he does not exist in her life. And this is why I find it sad. And I hope somehow she can find it. And we're talking about in our heart and Christmas that she can do the decent thing and just pick up the phone and talk to him. Whether she can get to see him, I'm sure she could. It may not be very convenient, but this isn't convenient when you have a family member who is seriously ill and you don't know how it's going to play out. So I hope they can sort it out. But this family is complicated, as we know, Kinsey, and
Messy.
messy, and there's so many different factions even within on the Thomas Markle side. So it never seems to be a smooth ride here. He's in the Philippines, which sounds, I going there. I'm sure he's been given excellent care. There's no reason to doubt that for a second, and I just hope that decency will prevail.
Hmm.
But I don't want it
Decency's
played out
decency's a
in the
good word
media.
for it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because we also know he needs an additional surgery for a
Mm.
blood clot that remains in his leg. So
Yeah.
I am glad he's getting the help he needs, but we're not sure that the worst is over.
Oh,
And I feel like she handled this horribly from the jump. She knew it was a bad look to be promoting a familyless Christmas special on Netflix to begin with. So she had to react. The reaction, first of all, the initial reaction Wednesday from her team was that they were trying to fact check as if they didn't believe the story. They were trying to confirm that the story was true. By Friday, they say she reached out. Rupert, wouldn't the decent thing, because there's a bounty now on the first photo of Thomas Markle with an amputated leg. The decent thing to
Oh,
do would have been to try to um, protect him in a way that she never did from the start and say, I am desperately asking that you give my father the privacy he needs,
oh.
in this difficult time. This is a private family matter. I intend to connect with him, but I am begging you to leave him alone and allow him to heal, something to that effect, so that people won't be camped out trying to get that shot. And people won't be sniffing and hovering around him, because they will be. But to your point, Meghan can't call somebody at the Daily Mail. Someone has the Daily Mail on speed dial after they secured those perfect images of Meghan's PR girl, Meredith Maines, meeting with the King's communications guru, Tobin Andre. Somebody has the Daily Mail, and it's the Daily Mail that's communicating directly with Thomas. The fact that it's taken her almost a week to actually make contact is completely unacceptable. Serena Williams is in Harper's Bazaar this month talking about how freaking smart you are. I almost said a bad word right there. How freaking smart you are, and you can't reach your father.
You've just actually said the way they should have been able to reach, which is you Daily Mail are there. You have a PR team. They could get to the Daily Mail. Where's that reporter? Which hospital is he in? Tell me. I want to say something. I can. That's why it would not. It's not beyond the wit of man. That's why it drives me mad that she says they haven't been able to contact, because they could have probably found that with a 10-minute call to the Daily Mail and say, it's Meghan here. I want to talk. I want to get hold of my father, and we want to make sure that everything's in order. It could have taken 10 minutes. And this is why. And then didn't she even produce some chocolate video or something from her As Ever brand that sold out remarkably within about 2 minutes? And now, so again, how long did it take to sell out? But didn't that come out about the same time as well? And then she was posting Instagram things of Harry on that, with that Stephen Colbert thing, telling sort of anti-Trump jokes or making references, and then he's done it again at the British American Council. I think in Santa Monica just this week as well. So the wrong stories are coming out from the Sussexes. They actually should be saying this is straight family. Forget status. This is family. You don't want to, and if the worst, God forbid, happens to Thomas, what's she going to be thinking?
Well, she'll
Because
she'll be on her 36th, 37th victimhood tour, probably sitting down with Oprah Winfrey or another sympathetic voice so that she can cry about what a victim she is, when in reality, she has been pretty cold about her father. She talks about having lost him like he's dead to her in that Netflix special that they did, the original one.
well, I know, and this is where it's so sad. And as I said, when I see, I hadn't seen that clip that came up today on from the Craig Ferguson show, and I know you've probably seen other things that she produced around that time, and she looks a completely different. Okay, it's 12 years ago, so it's a different time, but a lot has happened, and I don't know what's happened to her in the intervening period. But she's got ideas above her station, and yet her family relationship is in tatters. We have Harry now, going around on a sort of chat show, conference tour.
It's like he's trying to become a stand-up comedian. Like, well, we can go into what he says in Santa Monica.
Yeah,
We'll do that
yeah.
briefly, but don't you get the sense that he's trying to rebrand himself as the happy-go-lucky Harry that we knew when he was a bachelor? It's like, you're a grown-ass 40-year-old man. You have two children, and you're asking Netflix executives to get you a hot chocolate when you walk in late for a meeting. Like, grow up. We don't want you to go back to that, because the world has changed and you should have too.
Well, and yeah, well, he hasn't, and he's, and obviously he's had we'll probably come around to the High Court thing as well with regard to security. But, again, this family thing, Harry should be doing the decent thing and saying to Meghan, right, come on, just like my father, cancer, and okay, made some comments that were injudicious and actually were wrong and created more of a stir. But actually, just do the family thing. We know the families get fractured, but in something that as serious as this, he's an 81-year-old man, I believe, and he's just had a leg amputated. This is serious stuff, and he's not out of danger by any stretch of the imagination, because he could easily just get an infection, and God knows what will happen. So really, look, I hope behind the scenes that we don't know about, some proper moves are to at least say hello, talk, find out, just understand, and just have a little bit of compassion. I hope she can find it within her heart to do it.
I agree. This holiday, while others are chasing the rush, find your sense of calm with Peak. Peak is a luxury wellness brand powered by rare plants and cutting edge ingredients, offering the perfect remedy for this season's hustle and bustle. Their science backed botanicals, minerals, vitamins support metabolic function, immune health, sustained energy, and radiant skin. In this festive season, choose serenity as the ultimate luxury with Peak. One of their newest essentials, the Deep Hydration Protocol, is a day to night electrolyte system that keeps your body and skin hydrated while promoting better sleep. Enjoy a focus boost without jitters or a crash. The natural balance of caffeine and calming compounds keep you centered and alert all day long. Nutrients in their matcha help curb sugar and hunger cravings, making it easier to stick to your wellness goals. I've been using Deep Hydration Protocol every night for the past 2 months, and my skin has never looked so plump and dewy. I wake up looking and feeling like I got enough sleep. Ready to gift the glow? Unlock 20% off for life, for yourself, and everyone on your holiday list this year. Give the gift of glowing health this holiday season. Get started at peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Let's really quickly, before we get into Ravik, discuss Prince Harry's surprise appearance on Friday at the British American Business Council's Christmas lunch. It's a pay for play kind of thing. If you want to see a prince in real life, all it takes is a check. He made jokes about his family when referencing one of the event honorees, Downton Abbey creator Julian Fellows. He said, people sometimes ask if growing up with the royal family was a bit like Julian's Downton Abbey. Yeah. But only one of those worlds is filled with drama, intrigue, elaborate dinners, marriages to Americans, and the other is a TV show. Ha ha ha. He added, the World Cup is coming to the United States, and both England and Scotland have qualified. It's a Christmas miracle. I was 14 years old last time Scotland qualified, so this is a moment to savor, as well as to reflect on the kilts I was forced to wear as a child. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland and Wales can still qualify, which means we might just have all four home nations turning up. Wouldn't that be something for the great American brewers of Budweiser, Coors, and Samuel Adams to celebrate? The British are coming and they're thirsty. Back in the UK, we've recently found out the pubs might stay open until 1 a.m. What could possibly go wrong? He's trying to be funny, and I just want to slap him across his face.
Well, didn't he make a joke about customs as well, and ice and all those sort of things? So,
Yeah.
I mean, he went hawk deep in that. Actually, the pubs might have to be much later, because I think some of the Scotland games are kicking off at 2 a.m. our time. So our time, so which would be, if they're playing on the East Coast, 9 o'clock in the States. But given that when it's being played in June and July, it will be stiflingly hot across great swathes of your country. So a lot of late kickoffs. So the pubs trade might do well, but again, I mean, why are they wasting their time? I suppose it's put eyeballs on it and British American, but how much are they going to have to pay for him to do that? I mean,
Do you
have
do you
they got?
agree that he's trying to shake off the prince that's paranoid and angry and BBC Oprah
Oh,
Harry? You don't think he's
oh,
trying to do that?
oh, yeah, yeah. He's definitely trying to be a stand-up comedian.
Hmm.
He's definitely trying to write himself as the happy, because there's been accusations that he just looked miserable. So now he's turning out that he is, the best after dinner speaker you can get anywhere in the world. Well, there's work in progress. So I would suggest, but if people are prepared to spend this money, you know, who am I? Market forces. If someone thinks it's a good idea, look, I don't know the audience. It looked like a sort of plenty of glasses on the table of the person who recorded it. I think the one in Canada, there were phones. There was no recordings allowed. So someone's been a naughty person, presumably by recording that and putting it out, unless there was no agreement. So anything goes. But I have to say, again, it's just demeaning. And when everything else that's going on, um, is it is it right? I thought he doesn't seem to be spending much time at home at the moment.
Around the
Um,
holidays. It does. It's there. Do you get the sense of desperation and anxiety
mm,
that they're like trying to make things happen for them
oh,
at the end of the year after a pretty bad year? Senebale, African Parks Charity. Harry hasn't had the strongest year.
no, and no, he hasn't had a strong year. His wife certainly hasn't, because whatever you think, the podcasts were pretty ordinary, and the as ever program, well, lampooned basically. Parodied everywhere. It tells you what people think of them. So it's not been a good year, and I think they've got to regroup. And one of the ways they could regroup is to show that they do have an ability to show a bit of humanity and humility. And that means, in Meghan's case, sort out her relationship with her father, and then maybe must say, right, she isn't just a hard-hearted narcissist. That she does actually have a sense of perspective about a man who brought her up for great swathes of her childhood and was an integral part in, her life, and put his heart and soul, money wise, and everything. So I think that's what they've got to concentrate on, reboot. But the trouble is, they don't listen. They may have PR people, but they've never listened at any stage. They always think they're right. And Harry is also is convinced that he is the victim of all this, saying, and everything's an establishment plot against him,
A stitch up.
and a stitch up. And Meghan probably thinks the same thing, that, it was a stitch up over here, and there's, and now
Was
she's
it a stitch up when she released her show, her Family List Christmas program, and her father ended up in the hospital for emergency surgery? Was it a stitch up when she was going to release her first season of With Love, Megan, and California was on fire? Girl, if you believed in signs, you would hang up the freaking towel because the
uh,
universe does not like you. Okay.
no, well, no, look, um, but she decided to move it to December the 3rd. It was her shout, wasn't it?
It's my understanding that it was Netflix's, but they allowed her to claim it was her idea. They just thought, why
Well,
fight this? Okay.
well, and look, and how many people? I'd love to know if people anyone out there has done anything that she suggested. I've got my broccoli ready to go into a wreath, and
Look, I
to
wish you guys would stop talking, you know what, about I love broccoli. I eat broccoli every single
oh,
day of my
I
life. I love it.
broccoli. I'm not disputing the quality and the food quality of a good piece of broccoli,
Love
raw,
it.
perfect.
I love it.
Dunk
I
it.
will
But do I?
I will just in you and Jeremy Kyle and Kevin O'Sullivan's faces.
Uh,
I'm going to make a broccoli wreath this holiday season.
uh, uh, so you are. Would you have made one before if you hadn't seen Megan do it? Ah.
No, I would be just shoving it down my mouth because I love broccoli. Broccoli is like
Well, I love
chocolate to
broccoli.
me.
I can buy you some bought, or I'll send you some store-bought hummus, a bottle of olive oil, and some sprinkles on top, and away you go, Kinsey. Your Christmas is sorted. Anyway, that aside, it does just feel that they're trying too hard. And I suppose if we come to the Home Office and Ravik, that for once in Harry's
Wait,
life.
before you go there, I
Mm,
want to ask because you inspired something in me, Rupert.
okay,
For
hello.
the last couple of days, you you got something in my skull that I've been using. So you said to me that by Harry making some of these pot shots at Trump, which I was thinking in the grander
Mm.
scale of things, Trump could kick you out of this country, you idiot. And the grander scale of things, I was thinking you are jeopardizing your family's relationship with him. And they have diplomatically, the royal family has been such an important force and influence on Donald Trump. But you said to me, isn't he going to tick off half the country with this kind of jargon? And then, so I've said over the last few days, credit to you, Harry lives in a gig economy now. Harry cannot sit back and enjoy a huge paycheck, a salary like a normal person would, or even a member of the royal family, like the allowance that Harry complained about getting cut off at 40 years old on the Oprah Winfrey program. Harry has to go from paycheck to paycheck and he has to work for each one of those paychecks. So whether it's a new TV show or a book or a speech that he has to give. And so I wanted to credit you because I've said over the last few days, he really has to be more careful because he needs to cater to this audience that he needs to want to pay to see him speak. He needs to want to buy his next book or watch his next show. And he's alienating a huge percentage of the American audience by criticizing the person that they voted for.
And the one thing the royal family has to do, and we've talked about it in this country, they have to dance a political fine line. And that's the King and the Prince of Wales, they all have this issue here to how to make sure that if they believe in something, that they also are not making it an overtly political gesture. So they have to dance this fine line. And if you're hearing Prince Harry just making references and sort of, it's a cheap jibe. It's an easy thing. All comedians do it. It shows some variety. Look, we know you have there's quite a divided political spectrum in the States. You can't, I may not live there, but it's going on. And whatever side you're on,
It's
it's
polarizing.
polarizing. And he doesn't need to be doing that. He's not American. Why does he think he should be making cheap political jokes against the leader of your country? That's not, even if you disagree, you shouldn't be doing that.
But
I know
it's harder for normal Americans that aren't royal watchers to know what the difference is between Harry and I'm not going to say William because William's going to be king one day and he's a stallion. But Harry and I don't know, like Prince Edward. What's the difference? Harry shows up in the UK and wants to look like a royal by going to Well Child and some of these events that he goes to. He wants to present himself as a royal. And so normal Americans are watching this and going, oh, so the royal family feels that way about Donald Trump because Harry tries to present
yeah,
himself and with the use of his title as a royal.
and almost say at this British American thing, that's almost like a sort of quasi official thing, because the British Council and everything is in a sort of part. I don't know the full background to this arrangement and who the organization is, but again, he's representing British and American relationships, and there he is. Look, fine to talk about the World Cup, but we probably don't need jokes about getting into the country. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's not the issue. You might want to talk about the sort of cheesiness of the World Cup draw, but I don't know. Village people appearing, it was the wackiest thing I've ever seen. But I don't know whether you saw it, but it dragged on forever. But anyway, the point is, he shouldn't be doing this. You show a bit of intelligence. But therein lies the problem.
Amen. That's right. So I think you were saying that Prince Harry's had a win. Ravik has now instructed its risk management board to reassess his threat level for the first time in nearly 6 years. This is according to Matt Wilkinson at The Sun. It's understood that proceedings are already underway with authorities collecting material from police, government sources, and members of Harry's team. The government body overseen by the Home Office is expected to issue the decision next month. If it's decided he merits armed protection, taxpayers would foot the bill each time he was in the UK. He currently has to contact the Met Police 30 days before arriving in the UK for a mini security review on a case by case basis. So when he goes on TV and cries saying he doesn't get the security he needs, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not the reality. The Met actually takes care of him as long as he gives them 30 days notice every time he pops over there. I understand, and you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. My friends over there have no desire to pay for Prince Harry's security. But you haven't been as aggressive on this as you've been on other topics.
Where I come from, he is still a member of the royal family, and we do live in a troubled times, and he is, still as an element. But where I do have a problem, if he's giving 30 days notice, then that should be enough time for a case by case that people will know. There is enough people who will know. The royal security people, just talk to who manage the king, the Prince of Wales and others. They will know what's going on. So they will be able to say, if Harry comes, what's the issue? Where's he going? Look at that. And they will do that. But he wants bells and whistles, right? And that's the problem. And I'm pretty sure, there's a lot going on about the funding of the royal family and everything, from, there's documentaries, and there's some uncomfortable sort of things being said here. We can't sugarcoat that. And I'll tell you what, the British public wouldn't be overly pleased if they're going to suddenly find that taxpayer money, and it's not cheap, these security arrangements, are being footed, having to spend for him just because he doesn't think he's getting enough security to bring his family over here. Yet he can go to Colombia, he can go to Nigeria.
Meghan
I'm
can go
sorry,
to Paris, the city that
yeah,
his mother died in,
uh,
alone.
anywhere. You see, and this is where I'm not saying he shouldn't have security,
I
because
am.
um, I just, Princess Anne got, obviously it can happen. We can't be naive. So he can't, I know he may not be a working royal, but he's still technically in the royal family. But there are other members of the royal family who go about their normal life with, you know, little or no protection, and who just could probably get on the tube and no one would know what they look like.
But like
But
we've discussed Harry's inability to read the room. If you talk about violence in this world today, do you know how much political violence I have in my
well,
country right now? Then stop
well,
talking about politics and alienating a certain group, Harry. Harry getting, with his ghostwriter and talking about killing 25 people from
mm,
20 Afghans. Why is that necessary information for your book? Harry does things that puts him in jeopardy.
you know, I couldn't agree with you more. And this is the problem, because he can't read the room. So ultimately, it comes back, right. He may think he's got to win and that Ravak are going to have to look, which he believes it was always an establishment plot against him and they didn't want to help him. No, the last thing we need is anything to happen to him. We just assume there will be afforded a level of protection. But it's been a sort of cause celeb for him to try and get to this stage. Now, when they come back, they might say, "We've reviewed it." What's he going to do if they say, "Well, actually, we're quite comfortable with what's happening now. You just give us 30 days notice. You will be afforded a level of protection to ensure, and we will assess where you want to go. We don't want you just turning up and going somewhere. That's But we will give you a level of protection, but not the bells and whistles version that he wants. And the taxpayers in this country, well, basically British citizens, taxes are a burning political issue at the moment. And for the royal family, they don't want to, suddenly they've got an extra level of cost because this guy doesn't want to actually be in this country, but talks about it the whole time. But he also wants us to foot his, and that sense of entitlement is not a good look for him.
No. And I will be suspicious if he is afforded this the security he's asking for. I will be suspicious that King Charles did step in if he gets it based on, everything's worked out over the last 5 years with the way Harry's done it so far. And he's gone on television and accused his father and tried to bully his family into giving him what he wants. When I watch Colbert, I see a man lashing out that he's not getting the attention from his family that he wants, and he's not getting the communication from his family that he wants. And I'm going to assume that his dad gave in and did flip some magical switch that Harry
Uh,
told us existed on the BBC. Whether it's true or not, Harry intentionally put that thought into our heads.
Well, I don't know if it is independent and the courts have decided. The king can't ring up in courts and say, "Look, we need to review this." Ultimately, we have a new Home Office minister, and she may have decided we just do need to take a look at this because, as you say, this is a pretty troubled and divided times. Things could easily happen, and for him. But I think there's if it's costing taxpayers, that will be a negative for Harry, and he has got to look at that and say, "Oh, but he doesn't read a room.
No.
He's got Andrew's sense of entitlement at times and thinks he
Selfish,
is,
selfish,
yeah,
selfish.
it's all
Hey,
about me, 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 me.
and Megan. Hey, really quickly before I let you
Mm,
go, we should start a new segment on the show where we just call BS, and that's where this story lies. Okay.
mm.
Prince Harry on standby to offer interview coaching to Sarah Ferguson if she agrees to Oprah Winfrey style TV tell all. An industry insider tells OK Magazine, we're told Harry isn't just offering moral support, he's being viewed as the unofficial broker for the Sarah interview. The thinking is that he can guide her through the pressure, help her shape her answers, and make sure she doesn't feel overwhelmed on camera. Harry is the key to landing her chat and training her if she agrees. Everyone knows Ferguson trusts him, and producers are banking on that connection to get her across the line. If he signals that an interview is worth doing, she's far more likely to say yes, said the insider. First of all, Rupert, this is not Sarah Ferguson's first rodeo. That girl
Uh,
loves an Oprah style interview. In fact, she's done it with Oprah. And Harry's so hopeless. He couldn't coach a slinky down a staircase. Are we really expected to believe this story? Like, what a joke. I laughed. I audibly laughed while reading this out loud.
Slinkies was one of my favorite toys as a child.
Oh, well, guess what you're
Where
getting for Christmas, buddy?
so where was this story? Because I
Okay,
want to,
magazine, an American tabloid.
okay, diss it, rip it up.
Doesn't it make you laugh,
I
though? The idea that
well,
Sarah
I mean,
Ferguson
I
gets
mean, the
email from
idea of
Harry.
Harry educating um, um, Sarah Ferguson, who's done so many interviews, she'll basically be saying, looking, if she's going to do one, she'll be looking at the bottom line.
Mhm.
How much am I getting? End of. And she will feel that she'll probably say, I don't know what the terms of it will be, but it will be warts and all if she has to say something. So I don't think Harry will be involved. So I'm going to rip that story up and say, if there's a modicum of truth in that, I would be. It's one of those ones where they speculate. They need us Harry story. Oh, why can't he do it? And we can write a story, pretend that we've got all insiders and all this because I mean, that is just so fanciful.
Such a crock.
Heaven,
I think
bed,
that if she did
bed.
I think if she did an interview, I think she knows little to nothing about Andrew's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I truly do. I don't think Andrew was honest with her about that relationship. So I don't think she's a valuable asset there. I don't think she would jeopardize her children, their relationship with King Charles. I don't think she would ever discuss King Charles. But I do think that if she had to and she was broke and desperate, she might tell some of her Diana secrets that they were incredibly close when they were growing up, scheming to leave their husbands together at the same time in the 90s. And I also think she would talk about Harry and Meghan because I understand that they don't have much of a relationship and that's what everybody is interested in. So if she could just give two or three stories that she heard around the palaces about how Meghan's diva behavior or whatever, I think she could cash in big time on that.
Look, she would cash in. It would be you know, big bucks. But heaven for, I mean, it's a danger. It could happen. Look, she's got form in this area, so you never know. But if she's got any sense, she lies low for a bit. Just
True.
let the dust settle. Have Christmas with Eugenie and Beatrice, or whatever the plans are for Christmas, and just stay low and just regroup and take stock of the current situation. And if he's got any sense, but she hasn't always shown again the level of common sense in situations because okay, you say about the Jeffrey Epstein, but of course she did then write those emails saying, I'm really sorry that I said all those things and backing track
I think she
again
had a
put her.
different relationship with him. I think
Yeah.
she needed cash, and I think Andrew had fun with him. And the type of fun that you don't tell your ex-wife about, who is also your roommate.
Well, there you go. I mean, I probably couldn't disagree with your assessment there, but I, Harry coaching. I'm glad you brought that up at last because that's I presume that's the last story because
Yeah.
when you started reading it, I'm slightly in disbelief at the thought of Harry coaching. Um, I would suggest it would be the blind leading the blind.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right. Well, what a perfect way to end the podcast. Agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Rupert, I get to see you next week. Is that correct?
You get in the meantime, um, Christmas films, best ones, please.
Yeah.
And then you know, then if I haven't seen it, I'll make myself watch it. But anyway, always happy to hear any thoughts on Christmas films because and ones that make me cry.
I think that, have
Uh,
you seen Meet Me in St. Louis? Have you seen it?
which one?
Meet Me in St. Louis with Judy Garland.
No, I love a black. Is it in black and white or color?
No, it's one of the first color films and it's extraordinary. Go watch it. And I think you'll cry when she sings Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I do every time. And I watch it 5 or 6 times a year. It's the
Okay.
sweetest movie. I think it's right up your alley.
Meet me in St. Louis. I will report back to you next week having cried. In the meantime, I'm off to Switzerland to watch my team play in Basel with my son. So having a boys' weekend. William's not there, I don't think, but I
Oh.
will be in Switzerland for a couple of days before I speak to you next.
Is this Ollie? What were the
Miles.
I haven't talked to him
I,
yet.
you
He's
know,
one of
I've
the
got
few sons I haven't communicated with.
and I've got one over in the States who's 40 this week in Los Angeles,
Oh,
just
I'll
up the
send him
road
a
from you.
happy birthday text. I didn't realize he was turning 40.
Yeah, he's hitting 40.
All right. Well,
So
happy birthday
I'm
to
that
him.
old, viewers.
Yeah. That's so sad that he has to have a birthday so close to Christmas. That was very rude of you, Rupert.
But, I'm just lucky.
All right. Well,
Leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there.
thanks so much for hanging out with us. Let us know your favorite Christmas movies in the comments below, and we will see you guys again so very soon. Happy holidays.